What's up, world? It's your boy Charles Enoch, and you know we back with another Invest in Myself episode. So I've been getting a lot of good feedback on my last review video in which we talked about how to pay off your credit card without paying any interest. And if you haven't seen it, I will put the link down below, so go ahead and check that out. And before we get into the video, I definitely want to give a shout out to all my subscribers. We're almost at 500 subscribers, and we're almost at 2,000 hours of watch time. That means you guys have been smashing the like button and sharing my videos with others that want to gain that financial knowledge as well too. And on the real, I really do appreciate you guys for taking time to do that. It really encourages me to keep on making these videos for you guys and share that financial knowledge with everybody. Also, for the new people that stumbled upon this channel, go ahead, take a little time, hit that subscribe button for a brother. Help me reach a higher audience base. I really do appreciate it. All right, enough of that. So what we're going to be talking about today is how to pay off multiple credit cards at one time using a line of credit. Now, usually I have something funny to say before we get to this whiteboard, but your boy has a contracting test tomorrow and my job is on the line. So we got to hurry up. Come on. All right. So, we get straight down to business. We got Bounce Back Becky in the house, and she has charged up about 4 of her credit cards, and she's wondering how to pay all her credit cards off at one time. So Becky gives me a call. I'm like, hey, I got you. This is what we're going to be doing. So let's take a look at Becky's finances here. So her income is $3,000 a month. Her expenses are $2,850. Leaving her cash flow at $150 for the month. So we look at all 4 of her credit cards. She has a $500 charge on all 4 of her credit cards, and she's looking to pay all of them off at the same time. So the first 2 credit cards, they have a $50 minimum payment that she has to make every single month. The other 2, they have a $25 minimum payment that they have to make every single month. The credit card interest is 30% every month. So they are charging her like crazy interest. Now, Becky, she goes to the bank. She goes ahead and she gets her a line of credit. And her line of credit is going to be $3,000 with a 10% interest rate. Now, we always want to remember when we're doing the velocity banking method, income pays credit, credit pays expenses. Now, this may not make sense right now, well, we're definitely going to be making that make sense. So get your pen, your pad out, your tablet, whatever you do to take notes. You're going to be needing to take notes on this. All right, so we're in the month of January. So we're going to be taking a look at the equation to see how we're going to be paying off all these credit cards at one time with our line of credit. So one thing to note, this is January 1st, the beginning of January. So Becky, she has her line of credit that is $3,000. So the first thing she's going to do, she's going to take $2,000 of her line of credit. And now why is she taking $2,000 out of the $3,000 of her line of credit? Because if we add all her credit cards up, that equals $2,000, and she wants to pay those off. So we're going to take $2,000 of our line of credit. We're going to put that onto the credit card, which pays that in full. And when it pays the credit card in full, what it does, it increases our cash flow, CF, that's our cash flow, by $150. Why? Because the minimum payments on our credit card, if we look at the credit card 1 and 2, they were $50 each. Credit card 3 and 4 was $25 each. Since that is not a payment anymore, we have increased our cash flow by $150. We have also decreased our expenses by $150 because that is no longer an expense. We have paid that all off. So we're going to go to step 2. So she's going to take $2,000 of her income. Remember, her income is $3,000. She's going to take $2,000 of that. She's going to put that into the line of credit. So on step 1, remember, we used $2,000 of the line of credit. We needed to pay that off. So we're going to put $2,000 of our own money onto the line of credit, which puts it back up to $3,000 paid in full. Now we're going to go on to step 3. So we're going to take the remainder of her income. Remember, she makes $3,000 for the month. So we're going to take the $1,000 that's remaining for that month. We're going to put it onto our expenses. Now remember, our expenses was $2,850. But on step one, since we paid off our credit cards, we have to minus $150 of that. So if we do that, we see that we have $2,700 that is remaining on our expenses. So we're going to take $1,000, put that on the $2,700 on our expenses. That's $1,700 left. How are we going to pay our expenses? We're going to use our line of credit. We're going to use the credit, right? So our line of credit is $3,000, since on step two, we have paid that in full. So that's $3,000. We're going to use $1,700 to pay the expenses. This is going to leave our line of credit at $1,300. So if we see for the month of January, line of credit is $1,300. Our debt on our credit cards is $0. All right, so we're in the month of February here. So let's look at our equation because a couple things have changed here. So for line one, since we have already paid off all our credit cards, since we used our line of credit, we don't need to use this line anymore. So this line is X'd out. We're going to start particularly on this line. So remember, we have to look at what's left over for the end of January, which was $1,300. So we have $1,300 in our line of credit. Step one, we're going to have to use our income to fill that up, put it back to $3,000. So we're going to use $1,700 of our $3,000 of income, and we're going to put that onto the line of credit. This pays the line of credit off and puts it back to full. So we're back up to that $3,000. Now we're going to go to the next step. We're going to use the remainder of our income. If we make $3,000, we'll have $1,300 left. We're going to pay that on our expenses, on our $2,700 expenses. We're going to have $1,400 left over. Now we get to the last step. Since we filled our line of credit off in full, we're going to use our credit to pay our expenses. So it's back up to $3,000. We only have to pay $1,400 on expenses, which leaves our line of credit at $1,600. So if we look at the end of February, we have $1,600 on our line of credit. Our debt on our credit cards are $0 since we paid all of those off. All right, so we're in the month of March and we're slowly paying down that line of credit. So if you guys haven't noticed, it's the same thing that we're doing for the line of credit as the credit card. So we have to remember that income pays credit, credit pays expenses. So for the month of March, we're going to be looking at the end of February, what's on our line of credit, which is $1,600. We got to get that line of credit to full. So we're going to be putting $1,400 of our $3,000 of income back onto the line of credit to pay that off in full. So now we're back up to $3,000. We're going to be repeating the same steps here. So we're going to go down to step two. We're going to put the remainder of our income, which is $1,600, and we're going to put that onto our expenses, which is $2,700. Now that's going to leave a remainder of $1,100 that we have to pay in expenses. Now, how are we going to be paying these expenses? We're going to be using our line of credit. We're going to be using our credit to pay the expenses. So since our line of credit is up to $3,000 again, we only need $1,100 to pay off. So now that leaves our line of credit at $1,900. So for the end of March, we have $1,900 left on our line of credit. Our debt for our credit cards are $0. All right, so we're in the month of April. We probably got the hang of it, but we're going to keep on going. We're going to drill it in your head. So for April, we have to look at the end of March here. So the end of March, we have $1,900 on our line of credit. So we're trying to fill that back up to $3,000. So we're going to use $1,100 of our $3,000 of income onto the line of credit. We're going to fill that back up to full. So we didn't pay our credit. Now we're going to use the remainder of our income, that $1,900, onto our $2,700 of expenses. This will make our expenses down to $800. Now, how are we going to pay our expenses? We know that we're going to use our line of credit to pay the rest of our expenses. So our line of credit is $3,000. We're going to use that to pay $800 on the expenses. This leaves our line of credit with $2,200 for the month of April. So now we're at $2,200 and the debt for the credit cards are at a big fat 0. All right, we're almost there. We're in the month of May. So I already know what we're doing here. So we got to look at the end of April. We're at $2,200. So we're trying to get that line of credit up to full. So we're going to use $800 of our income to put that onto the $2,200 on our line of credit. It's going to put that back up to $3,000 paid off in full. We're going to use our next step. We got $2,200 left out of our $3,000 of income. We're going to use that onto our expenses. Our expenses are $2,700. This leaves us with $500 left on our expenses. Now we're at the last step. Our line of credit is filled back up. Income pays credit, credit pays expenses. So now that our line of credit is up to $3,000, we'll pay $500 off that line of credit. Leaves us at $2,500 on our line of credit. All right, so we're in the month of June. We are almost there. So we're just going to be repeating the same old thing, but we got to get it drilled into your head here. So we got to look at the end of May, $2,500 onto our line of credit. So we're trying to pay that off in full. We're going to go to step 1 right here. We're going to use $500 of our income. We're going to throw that onto our line of credit. That's going to pay it off in full. We're back to that $3,000. Now we're going to use the remainder of our income, that $2,500. We're going to put that onto our expenses. We almost got it all paid off. We're going to be left with $200 of expenses. Now, since our line of credit is back up to $3,000, we're going to use $200 out of our line of credit to pay the remainder of our expenses. This will leave our line of credit at $2,800. So we close, we almost there. We got one more month to go. All right, so we on to the last month here. Let's go ahead and knock it on out. So we're in the month of July. So we got to look at the month of June. We got $2,800. So we're going to use $200 of our income. We're going to put that onto a line of credit, pay that off in full. So our line of credit is $3,000. Now we'll be left with $2,800 of income. This is enough to pay all our expenses off, which is only $2,700. So our expenses is down to 0. Which means our line of credit on here is $3,000. Expenses is 0. Our line of credit is $3,000. So Bounce Back Becky has paid off all 4 of her credit cards in 7 months. And the way that she did that, she used her line of credit to pay all her credit cards off in full. And then she used her line of credit as her bank account by putting her income into the line of credit, then using the line of credit to pay her expenses every single month. Now, a couple things to note. These are basic 101 examples that are pretty much perfect scenarios to help you guys learn how to do velocity banking. Now, I have been getting some feedback from some of you guys saying that, hey, I understand the basic 101s. I need more complicated examples. Now, I do have a financial sheet in my website. If you hit up my email, I'll send you the sheet for free and you can put whatever you want in regards to the finances, and I can definitely do that scenario. I'm needing you guys' support, feedback, and comments. The feedback that I'm getting, you guys are wanting me to do the basic 101 reviews. If you want something more complicated, personally hit up my email so I can send you out the sheet and you can go ahead and put the expenses on there. I keep it anonymous. I always put a secret name on there. And we can do your situation, whoever's situation possible here. So it doesn't have to be a perfect case scenario. So I hope this has helped you learn about velocity banking. Obviously, you have to tie it to your specific situation. Again, you can always reach out to me. And again, don't forget to smash that like button. You guys have a good weekend.